Good afternoon, all. I welcome you all to the second session. Dr. NC Patra, we can begin with the introduction from our team.
So, very good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of our organizing committee, I request Dr. Monisa Mehra, who is a participant and assistant professor. So, I request Dr. Monisa Mehra to introduce our resource person, Professor Siddhartha Joddar. Please introduce him. Monisa, please.
Thank you, sir, for
Ma'am,
giving me chance to read out the brief biodata of Professor uh, Siddharth Jordar. Dr.
okay.
Siddharth Narayan Jordar completed his bachelor degree in veterinary science and animal husbandry for Vidhan Chandra Krishi Vishwavidyalaya in year 1993. After securing first position in national level entrance test meant for postgraduate degree in veterinary science, he subsequently moved to prestigious institute Veterinary Research Indian Veterinary Research Institute at Bareilly, UP, and so called Makkah of Veterinary Science for pursuing MVSc and PhD program. He joined West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Science as lecturer in the year 2000. Presently, he is working as professor in the Department of Veterinary Microbiology. He acts as department for 3 terms. Dr. Jordar handled 13 research projects funded by DST, DBT, and ICAR. He supervised 5
Video
PhD,
on karo dada.
14 MVSc, and 8 MFSc students for their thesis work. He worked as honorary member in the advisory committee means Animal and Fishery Science of West Bengal State Council of Science and Technology, Government of West Bengal during 2008 to 2011. He is a fellow of Society for Applied Biotechnology, honorary member of National Academy of Veterinary Science, and life member of 6 professional societies. He wrote 3 books and has applied for 2 patents. Dr. Jordar published 168 research papers in the various international and national journals of repute. He is a recipient of Intellectual of Year 2021. A big congratulations for this, sir. Research Excellent Award 2021, Outstanding Scientist Award 2020, Lifetime Achievement Award, National Award. Again, big congratulations, sir. 2020. IAAVR Merit Award 2019, Best Teacher Award of the University 2018, Rashtriya Gaurav Award 2017, Personality of the Year 2018 Award, Dr. C.M. Singh Award for Best Research Paper 2012, and Best Research Paper Award in 9 occasions in the different scientific symposia. Dr. Jordar is a popular scientist activist by patients and associated with several scientific organizations and NGOs. He has delivered more than 80 popular science lectures in the school, colleges, universities, and different electronic media, including Prasar Bharati and All India Radio. He is a popular science writer and columnist of different magazine and daily newspaper. Thank you, sir.
So, thank you, Dr. Monisa, for your nice introduction. Now, I request Dr. SN Joardar to deliver his speech. I think we all will be benefited from his lecture on immunopathology aspect. So, Dr. Joardar, please.
Namaskar and good afternoon to all my fellow colleagues, my other fellow junior colleagues, and seniors from all of the Indian universities and institutes. We are here for the particular um, advanced training program, that is 21 days advanced national training course on recent advances in veterinary pathology for intensive livestock development, jointly organized by National Agriculture Development Cooperative Limited, Baramulla, and West Bengal University of Animal and Fisheries Sciences, Kolkata. I welcome you all because from my part, as also the university part, I must congratulate Dr. Patra and as also the different participants who are here to listen me. Actually, the science is very progressing, fast-growing subject. So we have to keep pace with the fast-growing nature of the science. Different contributions have been made throughout globe in the subject. As we are also learning in the learning process, we will discuss some of the facets, some of the avenues where we can work together, because I think, I personally believe that this particular subject is not very much discussed, and some lacunae are there also for our part, being a veterinarian, to diagnose, to report those and autoimmune diseases in animals. So although the immunological advancement, as also the immunopathological advancement of the science is very fast, so naturally we have to have the knowledge and the advanced knowledge of this particular field. So I just want to share some of the things that we are learning. It is a learning process that you just told. So we are also learning in that way in the subject. Don't think that I'm giving you the inputs in that line. Just we are sharing some of the views, and we will love to interact with you also, so that we can have a matured benefit from both of the sides. Now I'm going to the slide presentation directly. Just 1 minute. I think it is visible, no? So I'm going to the slide show directly. So immunopathology is a particular subject which deals with the immunological aspect of the pathological disease consequences, and the autoimmune responses are actually there for against the particular body components, specifically on the different antigens that are expressed on the surface of different type of tissue cells. And we are discussing today the diseases of animals. Definitely, we have to deal with different type of animal diseases, autoimmune animal diseases. I'm Dr. S.N. Jodha, professor in the Department of Veterinary Microbiology. As you know, the immune system is working with our protection for different ways and means. Particularly, different cells are very much important. Specifically, different immune effector cells, starting from different hematopoietic cells, as also different other cells and body cells, as also different biomolecules, specifically the specific biomolecules, antibody molecules, or some non-specific biomolecules like cytokines, complement proteins, transferrin, C-reactive proteins, and others. Now, whenever these is actually a specific orchestrated manner they work, immune system, as you know, all we know. Now, this orchestrated fashion, this fine tuning of the music that we are going on for protection of the body, as also different body maintenance of physiology and all. But whenever it is there are certain deviation from the normal, if the proteins and particular genes are not present, and the expression of certain proteins are not there, there will be certain deficiencies. As you know, the expression of immune responses will be less due to absence or abnormality of certain genes and the products. And in that case, we call it immunodeficiency. There will be immune responses will be too little or absent. On the other hand, as you know, there are certain exaggeration of immune responses, hyperactivity of the immune responses, linked to different extraneous factors, as also certain genetic factors and all. So different hypersensitivity responses we face, human and other our animals also. We call it too much reactivity. There is hyperactivity. That is why we call it hypersensitivity. Different types, different categories are there that you know. But in case of a certain situation, there will be misdirected responses. The immune responses may be normal or abnormal. Normal may be there against an abnormal antigenic expression, or the abnormal responses against normal antigenic responses. It may be so. Or certain cases, some newer models are also there for danger signals are there, and different models are now reported and propounded for the expression of different autoimmune responses in body. Now, as you know, these two arms, innate immune responses and acquired immune responses. Within innate immune responses, there are non-specific components, maybe cells and some biomolecules also. Biomolecules in terms of, I just told the C-reactive protein, transferrin, and others. And complement proteins are also within this, particularly the complement components under lectin and alternative complement pathways. As also the other side, that is acquired immune responses, where non-specific immune responses will there. There are certain cells which are very much important regarding their processing and presentation and memory responses, particularly your lymphocytes, macrophage, dendritic cells, and others, and also the humoral component that are specific immunoglobulin, that is antibody responses from B lymphocyte differentiated product into plasma cells, and plasma cell products are actually antibodies. So in this particular autoimmune responses, all the components starting from complement till different type of lymphocytes and antibody molecules are involved in it. And there are certain, I just told, there are some misdirected responses that should not be. So definitely that lead to certain pathological consequences, disease production. Now, the fine tuning that are there for the within the body that we termed as tolerance, not the extraneous stimulus will give you some impetus to the different immune effector activities. There are low dose tolerance and high dose tolerance also, and responsiveness. But the actual tolerance is being controlled by two different system, that is central tolerance and peripheral tolerance. In central tolerance, the cells are tuned, cells are educated, T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes are educated to act accordingly, behave nicely. If it is not there, then naturally there will be deviation from the normal and skewness towards the inflammatory diseases. Failure of tolerance and lymphocyte activation, effector T cells will take upper hand. In that case, the inflammatory diseases and reaction against self components takes place to have a tissue pathology that you know. If you go back in 19th century, when the Pasteur era in 1883, 84, 85, the infectious pathogens have been discovered by so many workers, Louis Pasteur, Koch and others. And within that period, Russian scientist, zoologist, Ilya Mechnikov propounded that the certain cells within the small animals, as also human and other larger animals, are having certain phagocytic activity to protect ourselves from the intruder. So the activity is going on for the hematopoietic cells, particularly neutrophils and others, phagocytic macrophages and others. And he told that this may be the base of the protective mechanism within the body. Further, the von Behring and Kitasuta, as you know, identified and reported the antitoxins against the different type of toxins, and antibody responses are very much important regarding the protection purposes. They got Nobel Prize in 1901. At that time, in 1899, complement-mediated lysis was also reported by Jules Bordet, and in 1902, around this period, Porter and Rickett was actually reporting the anaphylactic the mechanism by which anaphylactic shock was there, and that term anaphylaxis was propounded. This particular period, the German immunologist scientist, the Paul Ehrlich, also propounded that if the antibody responses, as also the cellular responses going towards the own immune system, that may lead to horror autotoxicus. This is the starting point of autoimmune responses, and then several studies were conducted in different parts of the world, and reported different type of autoimmune diseases, their mechanisms, their pathological consequences, the immunopathological, the root, and the consequences as well, and also the different type of measures, therapy, and others that was also being discussed. Now, what is autoimmunity? Autoimmunity is the failure of an individual in recognizing its own constituent parts as non-self, self and non-self that you know, non-self, which allows an immune response against its own cells and tissues. And a disease that results from such an aberrant immune response is termed as autoimmune diseases. So naturally, the non-self self-discrimination is very important for immune system, rather the cells, particularly the T lymphocytes are carrying this particular property. And T lymphocytes there's a surveillance cell, they are going be a different part of the compartment of the body through systemic circulation and sticking whether it is a self component, non-self component. So basically, that immunity is going for against its own self, because the condition that occurs when immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys healthy body tissues. Now, I just mentioned the tolerance and the central tolerance and peripheral tolerance, where breakage of central tolerance, deviation from the tolerance will give you the autoimmune responses. Naturally, in the central part, just lymphocyte has been educated to to behave very nicely, I just told, its own way. So the lymphocytes that are going to recognize its own cell, that will be apoptosed, and only that the thymic selection process is there within the thymus tissues. Positive selection followed by negative selection will give you the education to the lymphocytes, and also the B lymphocytes in the bone marrow that are being eradicated, rather deleted, when they are going to behave in different manner, in its own way, if it is working with its own tissue cells. In the peripheral portion, there are certain checkpoints, maybe cells and immunosuppressive cytokines. Normally what happens, the cells are going to bind with a foreign antigen and start the immune responses for its elimination. But in case of immature lymphocyte, when bind to the self antigen, that may be apoptosed, and that I'm going to discuss to some physiological apoptosis going on. Physiological autoimmune responses are there, and that may be regulated by certain cells, particularly T regulatory cells, IL-35, IL-32, different cytokines, TGF-beta, and IL-10 and others. And the cells are also there which were not going to respond against its own cells. That is an energy, that unresponsiveness due to its own way on the regulatory mechanisms by the different cytokines and cells. So the causes of autoimmunity, as we sum up in that way, the genetic factors definitely are responsible, one component, and the breakdown of immune regulation normally that are going on within the body. And other part is definitely the environmental pathogens, maybe virus, bacteria, and others, and that are going to influence the condition of the autoimmune responses, and that will lead to the autoimmune diseases. If you go for the figure in that way, susceptible genes are responsible, which may have some failure of tolerance, and on the other part, tissue pathology is there when inflammation is there, when the expressed proteins are there, cell proteins, when the going to DCs, dendritic cells and macrophages, APCs, going to process and present that those cells towards the self-reactive lymphocytes. By mistake, they will be activated, and those cells are going to have some tissue pathology against its own cellular components. So in self-tolerance, there will be, although the self-antigen will be processed and presented, the T cells will not work, and there will be energy. But in case of the microbes which are having, there are certain molecular mimicry, also similarity of microbes as also the cell components of the body. That I will discuss later on this part. And activation of DC, the dendritic cells and other APCs, that is there. And most important is the co-stimulatory factors that are besides this trimolecular complex that are going to happen here with the MHC and the TCR and the processed product, and also certain adhesion molecules that are going to give the co-stimulatory stimulus. That is going to happen in that is called the co-stimulatory model, where co-stimulus is very much important, not only the process presentation. And that will lead to certain activation of the cells, that is cell-reactive T cells. They're going to produce the autoimmune responses. Now, certain peptides are there common that may be common. I will give you examples later on. The microbial protein is having certain proteins that are having certain cellular components, similar cellular components within the body, and that creates the problem. So, in a microbial component, whenever the DCs, APCs are going to process and present, that will going to giving stimulus to the lymphocytes. That by mistake they are going to act against the particular cells, because the expressed proteins are similar to the peptide of the microbes. That is a similarity, so it is called molecular mimicry. The mechanisms hypothesized to be involved in the breakdown of tolerance may be failure to delete autoreactive lymphocytes through central tolerance or the peripheral tolerance. On the other hand, similarity that I just told, that it's called molecular mimicry, and abnormal presentation of self-antigens, aberrant expression of MHC, major histocompatibility complex, class 2 molecules, coupling of self and different others are there. These are the mechanisms. Now, together, autoimmunity may be due to immunological, genetic, viral, that is a pathogenic etiological factors are there, and the mechanism may be all leading to abnormal B and T lymphocyte activities, and also drug-induced and hormonal mechanisms are there behind this. So, number of immunological cell production is different, and that most instances this is cause multiple mechanisms which are difficult to treat. So, genetic factors, infectious and environmental exposure, immune regulation will be disrupted, that lead to autoimmunity. So, hormonal influences and genetic predisposition will give some normal responses either, or abnormal immune responses. In case of normal immune responses, the previous hidden antigen, whenever after the adolescence, whenever the expression of certain proteins are there that may not be there in the thymus during education, so that will create some problem, and the T lymphocytes are they recognize that as a non-self that may not be in early phase of life, and that will lead to certain tissue damage. And the molecular aberrations or the structural aberrations or alterations are maybe arisen, and newly synthesized antigens also may be arisen, and tissue damage lead to different proteins that are normally within the intracellular locations that are come up within the systemic circulation, that will new considered as a new proteins or new antigens that are not present in the thymus. And also the molecular similarity that I just told, the molecular cross reactions, molecular mimicry. So normal immune responses may be there against the tissue location, tissue antigens. But abnormal immune response is also there because of the normal infections, but the failure of regulatory control that will lead to certain, that may be the virus infections and failure of apoptosis and microchirism. Now, the molecular mimicry as also some bystander activation also takes place by the side of the cells which have been activated. That may give certain stimulus to the side by cells, by the side of cells, and those the cells are going to produce different cytokine cascade that activate the resting T cells into activated T cells, and they are going to create some problem. In fact, the resting cells will be activated due to cross reactions on normal tissues, and autoimmune responses ensure. So autoimmunity developing through normal immune responses, it may be summarized in that way: expression of new antigens during late phase of life. Suppose for aged the RBC, the BANT proteins, now it is termed as CD233. As you know, the cluster of differentiation is going to be increased now, more than 350 cluster of differentiations. So they are actually these are actually the new nomenclature for the expression of different addition proteins, the proteins expressed on the surface of the cells. Now, the CD23 expression, this BANT protein expression, late life of RBC during senile phase, that cleaved and new epitope is exposed, that is going to be counteracted by the cells, and that is actually a autoimmune responses in fact, but normal. It is a normal one and it's a physiological one. It's normally happen within the body. It will not lead to tissue pathology. It's a normal physiology. Now, molecular changes of cell components, rheumatoid factors that are there are support, as you know, antibody molecules, such some the glycosylation process, during glycosylation process, or certain antigenic exposure. There are certain structural changes maybe so, and that will lead to certain epitopic expression, and antibody may be formed against its own antibody, but specifically against an IgG molecule, IgG class of immunoglobulin. Different classes of immunoglobulins may be produced as rheumatoid factors, although IgG rheumatoid factors are mostly they have been reported. Anyway, different classes, maybe IgE also can be produced as rheumatoid factors against IgG auto the antigen, and different the complement components against C3, C4 during the activation of different steps that are there for alternative, classical, and this thing. The changes in the structural forms of complement components that will give to stimulus to the antibody production, and that is immunoconglutinin, that is IgG, and complement proteins. And these IgG is actually rheumatoid factors, and complement protein rheumatoid inducer for rheumatoid factors, and these complement proteins inducer for immunoglutinin. Now, resemblance in molecular structure of infectious pathogens. Several repeatedly, I told that the molecular mimicry in case of trypanosoma, for example, in case of antigens of Trypanosoma cruzi is related to, having cross-reactivity with the mammalian neuron and cardiac muscle antigens, and that will give some antibody responses against cardiac muscle and mammalian neuron when the antibodies are produced against Trypanosoma antigen cruzi antigens. As also DNA polymerase of Epstein-Barr virus that may be having some similarity of within myelin basic protein. So whenever the antibodies are being generated against these, that will go against a myelin basic protein, creating some cardiac problem. Now, certain changes in recognition components of the receptors during the random gene the rearrangement of T cell receptor and B cell receptor expressed on the T cell and B cell. As you know, different genes are there, multiple genes are there for which the rearrangement takes place for production of true TCR and BCR. While during this process, so if there will be random gene rearrangement, there will be receptor editing process, and the imperfect steps of as also the imperfect the steps of antigen processing presentation during that period also faulty recognition takes place, through which the autoimmune responses may be generated. Now, autoimmunity developing through abnormal immune responses. So far, we were discussing normal way and abnormal failure in regulatory control mechanisms. As I told, disruption in peripheral tolerance may not be Treg cells are not working. The different cytokines produced, suppose IL-10 and tumor transforming growth factor beta, IL-33, 35, that are not there. So defects in fast ligand also. So there will be control mechanism, failure of control mechanism. Now, autoimmunity induced by the presence of virus. Certain virus, it has been observed, reported that the reovirus, rotavirus, and paramyxoviruses induces insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus, myasthenia gravis, and others, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid factor, rheumatoid arthritis, by molecular mimicry and dystender activation of this. So virus is also an etiological factor in that way. Genetic predisposition, I just mentioned. The genes responsible for the receptor, co-stimulator, and cytokine production of effector cells, and the mechanisms involved in regulatory processes. For example, in case of dog, DLA-A3, A7, A10, and DLA-B4, these are very much relevant to autoimmune diabetes mellitus. We will discuss this. And also in systemic lupus SLE, systemic lupus erythematosus, the dog A7 is prone for this. This is a susceptible gene that these haplotypes are very much susceptible. Now, immunopathology of autoimmune disease. Now we start our specific subject. Now, immunopathology, although I just told that the tissue pathology, tissue damages are there, but in different ways. That may be hypersensitivity responses, the exaggerated responses for tissue pathology. For example, in hemolytic anemia, autoantibodies formed against its own RBC, and the lytic form of hypersensitivity, that is type 2 hypersensitivity, ensure. And in case of myasthenia gravis, autoantibodies against acetylcholine receptor, that is also going to produce this hypersensitive 2 type of reaction. But in rheumatoid arthritis and systemic lupus erythematosus, the systemic autoimmune diseases, immune complex formation with their antigen, antibody, and complement that are going to be deposited, and that will cause the type 3 hypersensitivity reactions and tissue pathology. And in case of atrophic lymphocytic pancreatitis, equine recurrent uveitis, this type of diseases, infiltration of effector cells at the site of inflammation occurs, and that will lead to the type 4 hypersensitivity, but based on the cellular responses. I told you once that that may be a purely cellular responses, that may be an antibody involved in it, and antibody and cells, and also maybe the complement proteins, they cause different type of tissue pathology. Now, if you go for an organ-specific autoimmune, let us discuss different forms of diseases that we generally been exposed to. Suppose dog and different animals. Suppose in dog, autoimmune thyroiditis. This is actually an endocrine diseases. Now we start. See, autoantibodies against thyroglobulin and thyroid peroxidase in thyroiditis. Autoantibodies to react with this diiodothyronine and this thyroxine. These antibodies are developed against those particular autoantigens. And T lymphocytes and plasma cells are also infiltrated in the thyroid tissue. And tissue destruction, as you know, by cytotoxic T lymphocytes, by its perforin and granzyme, and through ADCC, antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity by macrophages, as also the NK cells, because they do have the antibody receptors. So involvement of antibody, involvement of cells at a time lead to antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity by the cells who are having the receptors on the surface for the antibodies, as also they do have the toxic metabolites in there within the cell. Now, this particular aspect is quite similar to in chicken also, Weyer's strain of white leghorn breed, where autoimmune thyroiditis have been reported. And in case of dog and cat, autoimmune hypothyroidism and autoimmune hypoparathyroidism, tissue destruction takes place with the activity of cytotoxic cells, as also antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. Now we go for the autoimmune pancreatitis, where pancreatic necrosis and atrophy due to the activity of infiltrated lymphocytes, for example, cytotoxic lymphocytes, mostly the ACD8 positive cells, and the diabetes mellitus, where autoantibodies are generated against a glutamic acid decarboxylase having 65 kilodalton. So these are the autoantigens against which the autoantibodies are generated, and insulin antigen. These are the two antigens, these specific antigens for the autoimmune diabetes mellitus. And responsible cells are T cytotoxic cells, and also antibodies are there for tissue destruction with complement activity. In case of horse and dog, generally polyneuritis are there for neurological diseases, where autoantibody formation leading to loss of function of various nerves and progressive paralysis takes place. In case of eye disease in horse, recurrent uveitis is a common phenomenon where lymphocyte and neutrophil infiltration, along with the complement component 3 and fibrin protein deposition on retina. These complement protein are there, three, as you know, different steps are there, different complement components are there, and the C3 proteins are common for the alternative complement and lectin pathway, and the fibrin protein deposition takes place in retina. Retinoid binding protein, retinal S protein, and reconvertin, and cellular retinaldehyde binding protein act as autoantigen for the stimulus for the antibody production. And most important is Th17 cells, just like that of different other cells, T helper 1, T helper 2, T helper P, T helper 9, T helper 22, T helper 17. Several other T helper cells have been reported now. Most important T helper cell in case of autoimmunity is Th17, that we will discuss separately when we will discuss the RA, rheumatoid arthritis. Now, autoimmune skin disease involved hair follicles, basal keratinocytes, and basement membrane, leading to the hair loss and blister formation. So blistering disease can be collectively known as pemphigus complex. Blistering disease, where bully is present in different location strata, and as you know, in the basal cell layer, upside and downside, there will be, if there will be an epidermal layer that bully is produced, that is called pemphigus foliaceus, and if it is just near about the basal cell layer upper side, that is known as pemphigus vulgaris, and in the downside, in the side of the dermis, it is a bullous pemphigoid. Now, in autoimmune disease, particularly the vulgaris, reported in dog, cat, horse, and cattle, the skin cells possess a specific autoantigen, that is desmoglein, and binding to autoantibodies to desmoglein protein leads to the activation of proton. As you know, different proto-oncogenes are present in the body, where normally they act as just like a docile protein, but whenever they will be activated, they act as an oncogene product they produce, and they cause tumor formation. Here, CMYC protein, CMYC genes, proto-oncogene CMYC, will be inducted and having certain proliferation of keratinocytes. Growth factor will be there, and the keratinocyte activation will be there. And highly proliferating keratinocytes fail to express adhesion proteins for which they are separated. That is called acantholysis. Acantholysis takes place in case of keratinocyte, loosening of keratinocyte. In the supravasal region of lower epidermis, the acantholysis, separation of skin cell, is observed on histological examination of bully, that is blisters in case of blistering disease, where multifocal basal keratinocyte degradation in the epidermis takes place, and the cleft formation in the base of the epidermis, accompanied by extensive cellular infiltration, takes place under in case of pemphigus vulgaris in histopathology. Pemphigus foliaceus, the autoantigen is different. That may be desmocholine 1, and the dominant autoantibody being the IgG class of immunoglobulin that has been reported, and the bulli are expressed throughout the body besides the mucocutaneous junctions of the muscle areas. And the bulli being very fragile, rupture easily, but they do not persist so much. But the subcorneal location, the cell-filled vesicles are very much typical for this pemphigus foliaceus. And for bullous pemphigoid, downside that I told, the dermal side, autoantibodies against type 17 collagen, the component of hemidesmosome. These are the autoantigen. And the multiple bulli developed in the subepidermis of the mucocutaneous junctions and in the groin besides the axilla. The bulli are filled with fibrin and mononuclear cells with eosinophils. They will heal up spontaneously, although, but these are the pathological situation. And in case of the kidney diseases, particularly autoimmune glomerulonephritis, there will be the glomerular basement membrane against which the antibodies are produced, and the proliferation of glomerular epithelial cells and epithelial crescent formation is very typical. Epithelial crescent formation is a characteristic one. It causes several renal failure in affected horses. So autoimmune glomerulonephritis, the start material is glomerular basement membrane antigen against which the autoantibodies are produced. In case of anemic diseases, particularly your dog, cat, cattle, mice, and rabbit, and laboratory animals also being reported, the and human also, in fact, the autoimmune hemolytic anemia and different classes are there, class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, based on the class of autoantibodies formed and autoantibodies against the red blood cells. And this classification is based on the optimum temperature in which they react and the nature of the hemolytic process that are there. I'm not going to detail of that because so many are there remaining. So autoimmune muscle diseases, important diseases, myasthenia gravis, where the autoantibodies are produced against acetylcholine receptors. Normal, the conduction of this neurological mechanism is being hampered. Autoantibodies generated against an intracellular muscle protein that has been identified as titin or titin, whatever the pronunciation, titin, and calcium release channel in striated muscle called ryanodine receptor. So acetylcholine receptor deficiency due to destruction of the receptors, and the autoantibodies not only block the acetylcholine receptors, here you can look at this part, and but also trigger complement mediated, this is complement mediated damage of the receptors. So the failure to generate the optimum end-plate potential happens at the nerve fibers, and this is important, and failure in triggering action potential in many muscle fibers, thereby causing muscle weakness. So there will be muscle weakness, and situation may be aggravated by repeating the stimulus showing to the positive acetylcholine receptor after a few stimulus. There will be no acetylcholine, because acetylcholine esterase also will be given to retain the acetylcholine here as a therapy. In case of systemic autoimmune diseases, systemic lupus erythematosus, rheumatoid arthritis, and Sjogren's syndrome, they are the systemic diseases much talk about in dog, cat, and horses, in fact in primates also. And there is a particular complex syndrome that is known as systemic lupus erythematosus is observed that involved the multiple organs of affected animals, multiple organs. Production of multiple autoantibodies are also there in SLE, combined effect of defective apoptosis, and the overstimulation of B cells, the failure of eliminate self-reactive B cells, the major cause of wide variety of clinical symptoms. Where we see the autoantibodies in SLE will work on the different and also associated with defective apoptosis and failure of reactive, the elimination of reactive self-reactive B cells. In case of rheumatoid arthritis, immunologically driven erosive polyarthritis in human and animals, dogs suffer from swelling of stiffness of joints and lameness, along with pyrexia, anorexia, and severe depression. Progressive joint erosion and deformities are observed. Radiological findings show narrowing of joint space, subchondral rarification, and cartilage erosion. And arteritis, as you know, different forms of other associated problems are there. Arteritis, amyloidosis, and glomerulonephritis are considered as associated complications of rheumatoid arthritis. In case of Sjogren syndrome, keratinoconjunctivitis sicca, that is the conjunctival dryness, keratoconjunctivitis sicca, and xerostomia, that is mouth dryness, and chronic superficial keratitis, collectively known as Sjogren syndrome. In dog and cat, it has been observed, but I'm coming. Now, if you go for the immunopathology of SLE, the drugs, virus infection, definitely genetic influences are there, and defects in apoptosis, and that will be a gene hypomethylation will lead to T cell abnormalities. That will lead to abnormal T cell signaling, reduced IL-2 production, increased IL-17 and IL-6. It is very important regarding the pro-inflammatory cytokine, as also the Th17 released IL-17, increased CD44 expression, and reduced T cell regulatory cells. The T regulatory failure will be there if it is so, and estrogen, prolactin, in the presence of this, excessive B cell activity also may be there. And with the help of this T cell B cell activity, there will be multiple autoantibodies produced. These multiple autoantibodies, there will be organ-specific antibodies, as also anti-nuclear antibodies and rheumatoid factors. That is, I told once that is IgG, against which the different classes of immunoglobulin, maybe mostly IgG, but different other classes of immunoglobulins are also produced in form of rheumatoid factors. And they, with the help of complement, they actually form the immune complex lesions. And the organ-specific autoantibodies also will maybe thyroiditis, myositis, purpura, and anemia. That is actually multiple. These organs will be affected, as I told. Maybe glomerulonephritis, dermatitis, the arthritis. Not only arthritis, different other forms of ailments are there. In case of systemic lupus, the genetic background, sex, and various females are more important susceptible group. Virus infections are predisposing factors. Autoantibodies, known as anti-nuclear antibodies, is diagnostically important. Anti-nuclear antibodies are formed against present around the cell nucleus. That is very important proteins against which the antibodies are produced. Histone proteins are ribonuclear proteins. Anti-nuclear antibodies are generated against these two proteins normally, histone proteins and ribonuclear protein. And three major sources of nucleic acid that provoke the production of anti-nuclear antibody. That is invading bacteria, the neutrophil. That you know, the neutrophil is having some neutrophil extracellular trap. The substances that are going to trap the for phagocytosis, and also there are several apoptotic cells. But these may also induce the ANA. The soluble autoantigen, along with ANA, the antinuclear antigen, may be deposited on glomerular membrane and causing membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis, and on arterial wall producing arteritis or synovial membrane joints, resulting in arthritis. They will form the arthritis or the membranoproliferative glomerulonephritis. In case of bacterial or mitochondrial DNA, when they're released in the tissue, that binds with TLR, as you know, TLR, different type of toll-like receptors are there, non-specifically attached to different pathogen-related pattern. There will be a DNA release. They can sneak the particular DNA pattern, and they trigger the innate immune responses, toll-like receptor. So these are actually pattern recognition receptors expressed on the surface of BC and other APCs, macrophages, dendritic cells, and others, and they sneak around the DNA that are released from the bacterial mitochondrial DNA, double-stranded DNA, and then or single-stranded also. They can go for the activity of innate immune responses. Activation of B cell results in anti-DNA antibodies, plasmacytoid dendritic cells expressing these Fc receptor, gamma receptor, and toll-like receptor stimulated by immune responses. The complex is formed on the nucleic acid and anti-nuclear antibody. This results in the release of high quantity of, this is important, interferon alpha, which is characteristic of lupus. Interferon alpha that I will show now just now, this is very important regarding the differentiation process of different cells and going to produce the tissue pathology. Release of interferon alpha favors inflammation by stimulating macrophages and autoreactive T cells. This particular cytokine that is interferon. Now, INA bind with nuclear degrading cells and produce to round structure in kidneys, lungs, spleen, skin, heart, and etc. These are called hematoxylin bodies. So, ANA antinuclear the antibody that are going to cap with the degenerating cells, In bone marrow, the nuclei of degenerating cells, when bind with autoantibodies, they are opsonized by polynuclear cells, primarily neutrophils, and the cells are now known as, in bone marrow, that is particularly known as Ailey cells. These are the Ailey cells. So that have been trapped by polymorphonuclear cells, neutrophils. This is also a diagnostic for SLE. So autoantibodies are developed in SLE, that is anti-red cells, antiplatelets, anti-muscle cells, antidermal cells, and the heart cells, due to excessive activity of B cells and specific ailments and consequences. Definitely there are different consequences for that. And varied symptoms of that, anemia, polyarthritis, and lupus band formation in human and also in animals, the skin, myocarditis, myositis, and also pneumonia and proteinuria ensure. The antibodies to red cells induce hemolytic anemia, antibodies to platelets, thrombocytopenia, anti-muscle antibodies are producing endocarditis and myocarditis, antibodies to skin basement membrane and dermatitis, and different forms of other the problem, where actually the deposits results in the lupus band formation. In horse, lupus presents mainly as a skin disease. That may be alopecia, dermal ulceration, crusting are commonly seen, and besides this, antiglobulin positive anemia, and basement membrane degeneration and immunoglobulin depositions are observed in skin biopsies. Besides this, glomerulonephritis, other elements are also there, just I told, synovitis and lymphadenopathy are also being reported. So this type of patches, bands, and alopecia, as also the skin, the crusting and ulceration, dermal ulceration is also being observed. In case of dog, canine lupus is common in certain breeds. The breed predisposition is also there, especially the German Shepherds, Beagles, Poodles, and Afghan Hounds. Vesicular systemic lupus is characterized by vesicular erosive and ulcerative skin lesions. The subepidural vesicles, along with the immunoglobulin deposition at the dermal epidermal junctions, takes place, and the affected dogs possess antibodies against type 7 collagen of antinuclear antigen A. In certain dogs, exfoliative lupus dermatitis have been reported. And in mucocutaneous form, canine lupus, skin lesions at mucocutaneous junctions, such as perigenital or perianal region areas, are seen. And affected dogs are having certain this type of lesions. So chronic cutaneous form of lupus with bilateral symmetrical alopecia, and just in human, there is a butterfly-like of lupus band around the crest of nose. And just like that of this thing is also available here in case of bilateral symmetrical alopecia and hyperpigmentation. And in case of this type of thing here. And in case of cat, antiglobulin positive anemia has been reported, which is not common although, but fever, thrombocytopenia, polyarthritis, skin disease, and renal failure are also reported in case of feline species. In rheumatoid arthritis, an immunologically driven erosive polyarthritis in animals and man, and then dogs suffer from swelling and stiffness of joints and lameness, along with the pyrexia, anorexia, and severe depression. And radiological findings show the narrowing of space subcortical radification that I just earlier also I told, that considered associated with complications of rheumatoid arthritis. Autoantigens of rheumatoid arthritis are observed as multiple agents, IgG molecules, citrulinated protein, collagen, and glycosaminoglycans. And autoantibodies are developed against the epitope CH domain of antigen around IgG molecules, which incidentally are less glycosylated. Normally, we call it a glycoprotein because glycosylation takes place as CH2 domain of IgG, where if it is not there, the deficiency is there, then the epitopic structures are not normal against which antibodies are produced. And that is actually rheumatoid factors. These autoantibodies are termed as rheumatoid factors. Rheumatoid factors may be of any kind, classes of immunoglobulin, as also IgG, different IgE, IgM also, but IgG most prevalent is IgG, where as you know, in the particular joint area, there will be cellular infiltration, as also the fibrin strands, immune complex formation, deposition takes place, and erosive articular cartilage will be there, and is a the pannus formation is a particular characteristic of this allocation. And the IL-17 that I told once mentioned, the IL-17 released from T helper 17. T helper 17, the main cytokine released by IL-17 that activates synovial fibroblasts, thereby releasing IL-33. This is also an important cytokine for RA production. Stromal and endothelial cells that release different pro-inflammatory cytokines, as also different chemokines, IL-1, IL-6, IL-22, and also GM-CSF, granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factor, transforming tumor necrosis factor alpha, as also IL-8, interleukin 8, that is a chemokine for neutrophils and others. And owing to the presence of this IL-17, 33, IL-8, that is chemokine, C5a, component of 5 complement, and platelet activating factor accumulating neutrophil takes place in the synovial fluid. And inflammatory cytokines, IL-1, 17, and TNF alpha, just I mentioned earlier, activate fibroblast-like cells that line the synovia releasing. This is important. Metalloprotease 2 and metalloprotease 9. These enzymes degrade the articular cartilage and ligaments, these two particular enzymes. So as you see in the joint area, there will be synovial membrane. Within the synovial membrane, there will be immune cells, B cells, T regulatory cells, T helper cells, macrophages, the follicular helper cells, and other peripheral cells, mast cells and dendritic cells, natural killer cells. But there will be inflamed portion. The synovial membrane will be aggressive, and they will come into the synovial fluid, producing the pannus formation. And within this, these mediators are there, the different type of interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, enzymes that I told just now, hyaluronase, and other components. 17 and TNF alpha, repeatedly I'm telling, associated with high mobility group box protein HMB GABA1 released from activated T cells, stimulate bone destroying osteoclasts. Mainly these are the culprit. So monokines, that IL-1 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, trigger the synovial angiogenesis. Circulating lymphocytes, specifically CD4 positive cells, home to newly formed capillaries and aggregate around the blood vessels. And locally remote factors produced due to the activation of B cells attract complement and precipitate the immune complex with the superficial layers of the articular cartilage. So the remote factors, as also the complement components, attract to have a deposition, and bone and cartilage erosion occurs due to all this destructive process leading to characteristic joint pathology, as you can see from this. Now, if you go for the cellular activity, different forms of different pathways are there to stimulate different other cells. And I'm not going to detail about this because that is a very recent advancement in case of the cellular pathways, where you can see the different other cells have been inducted to have a cellular infiltration, as also tissue pathological consequences. Here, that I just mentioned earlier, just crosstalk of two cells is very important regarding the RF formation. One is your T lymphocytes and one is your macrophage. As you know, different other NK cell macrophages, macrophage with the other cells, important for this cross-talking. But most important, recently found that these most important cross-talking between the macrophages and T lymphocytes are relevant for RA formation, rheumatoid arthritis formation. What are those? These TNF alpha is going to induct the CXCR chemokine receptor inducing chemokine, that is CXCL16, that is a there is a receptor and there is a ligand. For ligand, this ligand has been inducted, that chemokine has been inducted by TNF alpha, and they recruit the cells. So say they attract the lymphocytes in the particular area, the synovial fluid and synovial area, and where they started differentiation. So these particular cells have been differentiated into T helper 17 by the activity of specific cytokine production, that is IL-1 beta, IL-6 and others, starting from IL-12 and IL-10. And the newly identified cytokine IL-34 is also important regarding induction of pro-inflammatory cytokine, which can induce the differentiation process of T helper to T helper P to T helper 17. And there will be rescue of apoptosis and proliferation activation because of IL-15 and GM-CSF we're going to polarize macrophages to M1 form of macrophages, not to M2, and that will release certain cytokines to proliferate and activate the T helper 17 product, and going for the other cytokines to be liberated in the tissue location. If you go for the histopathology of RA, I can see in synovitis the lymphoid aggregation takes place and a diffuse lymphocyte infiltration and hyperplasia of the lining layer and fibrin cap. Fibrin cap is important denoted lining layer. Sorry. Lastly, the Sjogren syndrome, keratoconjunctivitis sicca that I just told, the conjunctival dryness, xerostomia, that is mouth dryness, and chronic superficial keratitis are collectively called Sjogren syndrome. And in dogs, develop keratoconjunctivitis sicca when autoantibodies are developed against nictitating membrane and the lacrimal gland, causing reduction in the tear film production and corneal dryness. It may lead to painful abrasions and blepharospasm. The mucopurulent ocular discharge, blepharitis, conjunctivitis are commonly seen. This condition may lead to secondary bacterial infections and even corneal ulceration and perforation. You can see the picture. So infiltration of eosinophil lymphocytes and macrophages and plasma cells in lacrimal gland are also observed in case of horse, affected by keratoconjunctivitis sicca. So infiltration of lymphocytes and macrophages and autoantibodies in salivary gland causes xerostomia, mouth dryness, and subsequent excessive thirst, dental caries, even gingivitis may develop. In case of dog, it is monocyte, lymphocyte, monocytes, plasma cells may invade superficial corneal stroma, causing an inflammatory ocular disease known as the superficial keratitis. Here also the keratitis are reported in Sjogren syndrome in case of dog. In this condition, immunoglobulin deposits are also observed, and the pigmented granulation tissue leads to corneal opacity. Corneal opacity also is there side by side in case of Sjogren syndrome. And in horse, superficial stromal immune-mediated keratitis is associated with increased number of CD4 positive, CD8 positive cells at the lesions. And not only the cytotoxic lymphocytes, but also different forms of helper cells are there to produce these different cytokines to give the keratitis of horses. Now, I just want to complete this with conveying my gratitude to Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has given the opportunity for this infrastructure building and others. And definitely I will thank the course director of this particular course, Advanced National Training Course, Dr. Patra, and also National Agriculture Development Cooperative Limited, Baramulla, who gave us the opportunity to say a few words before you. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
So thank you.
Nice if there's some conversation. I mean, there's some. If I have some queries, or rather, I can ask some questions. On that way, interactive sessions may be conducted, whatever form the organizers want.
Yes, sir. Sir, Nisat sir, please. Majid sir. Majid sir, please. Somehow there may be network issue.
Oh,
No, sir. I'm here, sir. I'm here.
Okay, sir, you
Now,
start.
if there are any questions to our eminent resource person out here, participants can unmute and ask their questions to our eminent guest.
Mostly, the question is whether the treatment modality is there, mostly for the function related and symptom based, and different immunosuppressive drugs are used normally in human, but in I don't know exactly the dose regime of dogs that have been there in practice. I don't have an idea of dose regime for this corticosteroid and others, particularly methotrexates and cyclosporine, and this type of drugs are used for immunosuppressive drugs are used for this particular RA and other type of autoimmune diseases.
Are there any further questions? Anyone who wants to ask, they can unmute themselves and directly ask without writing in the chat. Or you can ask a Q&A.
I can ask some questions also. I can give you some lesson if you want. In that way,
Sir,
we can proceed.
Yes, sir.
Mona Lisa
Should I go
Behera
for
asked-
that? Should I go for that? 5-6 questions very fast.
Yeah, sure. You can ask.
Okay. Okay, you can give it to the chat box also. First one is immunoconglutinins are developed against multiple choice: cytokine, antibody, complement component, C-reactive protein. Immunoconglutinins are developed against cytokine, antibody, complement proteins, different complement component proteins, and C-reactive proteins. First one, right? You can give me the answer in the chat box. Second question: band 3 protein of RBC is termed now as cluster of differentiation CD230, 233, 235, and 240. One of them. 230, 233, 235, 240. Rheumatoid arthritis RA creates following type of tissue pathology: type 1 hypersensitivity, type 2 hypersensitivity, type 3
Someone has said
hypersensitivity.
I think
Yes. Tell me.
you can check chat. You can go to Google Chrome.
Okay. Okay.
Google Chrome.
Yes.
Yeah, you can click on the chat. Right. No, go to the chat. Yeah, this one exactly. Click on it. Can you click on it, sir? Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Complement. Yes. Complement. Yes. Correct. Next one. Band 3 protein of RBC is termed now as
Now you can reply the answer in the chat itself.
yes.
Participants, yeah. Dr. Chetan Sharma is saying B.
Yes. 233. RA creates following type of tissue pathology: type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4.
Please mention the question number as well. Participants, please mention the question number you are answering for, so that we have an idea
Third
what
question is RA creates following type of tissue pathology: type
That's question
1
number 3.
type 2. Yes, question number 3. Type 3 type 2, type 3, and also all of them.
Dr. Rupa Devi is saying type 3.
Okay. Desmocolin 1 is an autoantigen against desmocolin 1. Desmocolin 1 is an autoantigen against
Question number 4. 4 people. Dr. Madhu is saying
Pampas
C.
polliceus, Pampas vulgaris, Bouloid pemphigoid, all of them. Desmocolin,
Dr. Madhu and Dr. Bharat Kumar is saying C.
pemphigoid. Okay. Titin is autoantigen of Myasthenia gravis, SLE, RA, and polyneuritis.
We're answering question number 5. Click on the Chrome and left one, yes.
Myasthenia gravis, somebody giving answer. Okay. AN is found in antinuclear antibodies found against SLE, against RA, both SLE and RA, and none of them.
Question number 6.
Question number 6.
Dr. Mona Lisa is saying SLE. Dr. Chetan Sharma is saying C. Both in SLE and
SLE
RA.
and RA. SLE and RA. Yes.
Yeah, so the C is answer.
Yes.
So thank you for the Q&A. Are there any one-to-one questions people want to ask? They can ask directly to our esteemed guest. I think we have gone way past our allotted time. Now, sir, I think it's time for the vote of thanks if there are no further questions from the audience.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Professor Jordar sir, who has rightly corroborated with the different immunopathology as well as the histopathology. So thank you again for sparing his valuable time with us. Now I request Dr. M. Pathan, who is the participant as well as the assistant professor of Gujarat, is the College of Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry, Kamdenu University. So please offer the vote of thanks to our resource person, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So, good afternoon to Dr. S. Jordar, sir, and all our participants. Today, on behalf of organizers, I extend a really hearty vote of thanks to Dr. S. Jordar, sir. Sir, today we had an opportunity to hear you, and really we all have very deep gain about immunopathology of autoimmune diseases. Once again, for that, I'm very thankful, and all participants also very thankful for your this lectures. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Namaskar.
So thank you, sir, to have with us, seeking your help in the future also.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you, sir. Participant may leave.
Thank you everyone for joining. Let's join back tomorrow at 11. Thank you everyone.
So thanks to